Nicole and Jacob. What is La Marcha? This is my Uncle Ed explaining what it is.
We call the Grand March.
We're going to try something this evening that we do back in New Mexico, and it's called the Wedding March.
The Wedding March. Hello Jacob, future son-in-law. Hello Nicole, my daughter. I'm making this video for you guys to show you what La Marcha is and why it's so special and why it will be so much fun to do at your wedding. This will be presented in a couple of parts. Right now I'm going to show you my Uncle Edward explaining to us at a family reunion what La Marcha is. He walked through with our Gonzales relatives at a 2017 reunion we had in New Mexico, because we asked him, Uncle Ed, teach us how to do La Marcha so that in future weddings we, the next generation, could show you guys and other members of the family the tradition of La Marcha, the march, and how and why it's so fun and so special. So here we are at the family reunion, as I mentioned, in 2017, and after I show you some of these sections, I'm going to show you wedding video clips from 6 different weddings that I filmed, all relatives, 3 of my siblings and 3 of my cousins, and at each one of those we did the wedding march. As a matter of fact, you, Nicole, you were at 4 of those weddings. So, for starters, what is the La Marcha? It's a traditional dance that is done primarily in the Southwest or New Mexico. It's not really a Mexican tradition. Jacob might be interested to know that it's not a Mexican tradition. It's a new Mexican tradition. This is called the Tunnel of Love, and it's one of a number of different aspects of La Marcha that go on. What is La Marcha? It's a 5-minute dance that is a march done to a traditional Mexican song of all things, even though it's not a Mexican tradition. And the song that is primarily used is called the March of Zacatecas, La Marcha de Zacatecas. Let me point out here is what goes on at the very end of La Marcha. The couple, this is my cousin Luana and Glenn, dancing in the middle while everyone else forms a circle and claps. And the significance of this is the support that they will always have throughout their life from family members and the community. And after the couple does their dance, then everyone else who was in the march, everyone who was marching side by side, they jump in and join in for a big group dance. As I mentioned, or was about to mention, the marcha can go anywhere from 5 minutes to 15 or 20 minutes, mostly depending on how many people, how many guests there are at the wedding. So let's get started. This is the first of 6 weddings. This is my cousin Luana's. This was in Santa Fe at a big Masonic temple, and she had 350 guests. And this is my cousin John with his first wife, Julie. They were married in Phoenix, Arizona at a ballroom. And here is your Aunt Marisa and Uncle Dave. That's Uncle Edward and Uncle Eloy. There's Marisa and Dave. They were married in Los Angeles. And Kirk and Katie, there they are. They were married in 1995. In 1996, up in Redding, California, at a farm in a barn. Oh, look, there's Gloria. And Aunt Raina and Danny, you just saw them walk by. They were married at a winery in Sebastopol in 2001. And theirs was an outdoor wedding. And the first wedding I ever filmed of my cousins, this was Latricia. Latricia was married with Mike in 1992 at a beautiful ranch just on the outskirts of Santa Fe called Las Golondrinas. So here they begin, a couple that knows the dance. They lead it, and there's Glenn and Luana, and they follow. They line up side by side, and you need to have a couple. Doesn't have to be matching. Doesn't have to be a married couple. Doesn't have to be boy, girl, girl, boy. It could be boy, boy, girl, girl. It could be aunt and uncle. Look, there's my Aunt Anna with Raina. They were a couple. And look, there's Nicole with her mom. And you can see, oh, there's Maya being carried by Uncle Kirk. So really, anyone who can walk can do La Marcha. So you walk side by side to start as the music starts playing, and eventually the leaders do one of two things. They will veer off in 2 different directions. You'll see that in just a minute. Right now this is just the initial march where they're all kind of marching side by side, clapping. This is at Luana's wedding, and hers was so long they went into different rooms. This is Latricia's wedding, and you can see they're alternating, going different sides. 2 to the right, 2 to the left, 2 to the right, 2 to the left. when you get someone who can help out with going to the right, going to the left, you can do a little more advanced La Marcha. If you want to keep it simple, we won't go right, left in couples. You'll always stay together with your couple. You'll only veer off when you go on your own. Sometimes they go one line to the left, one line to the right. And what does that signify? As I understand, it signifies the first fight of the couple, where they go off in their own direction. And eventually they come back in the circle, they come back together, and that represents the couple coming back together after their first argument. And this is Melissa and Dave's, I should point out, they went outside. Theirs was so long, they went outside. Aunt Raina at her wedding with Uncle Mike trying to explain which way to go, to the right, to the left. If we are able to have a second couple, so very likely it'll be myself leading La Marcha, unless Uncle Eloy's feeling up to it, and Uncle Edward apparently is probably not going to be able to make it down. He's in Santa Fe, not feeling so well, but if he is able to come up with a miracle recovery, he would be there to lead it, or Uncle Eloy, perhaps Uncle John. If not, it'll be myself and your mom leading it. So this is the tunnel of love as they're kind of going back against the grain. Oh, and the big long line. What does the long line represent? Oh, look, there's Nicole. The long line, as you're holding hands, as you weave in and around the room, inside, outside, represents the twists and turns in life. So here we are coming against the grain. These were the leaders. I don't know who these people are. They're friends of Luana and Glenn's, or Uncle Edward's from Luana's wedding. And there's Luana and Glenn going back against the grain. They had 350 guests, so ours would be half that big. Raina and Dan forming the tunnel of love. And this is also kind of fun. I filmed my camera going through the tunnel. One of the parts that's kind of goofy and kind of silly is as you go through the tunnel of love, frequently you're patted, pinched, or poked by the people on the outside. And in a moment you'll see Auntie Raina coming through, kind of getting goosed quite a bit by everybody. Oh, there's my Uncle Ben. That's Aunt Helen's husband. Here comes Raina through the tunnel of love, getting poked, pinched, and tickled. And watch her come. Oh, there's Nicole with her friend Brianna. And there's Isabella reaching up real high, hanging on to Mom. Here's the big ballroom for John and Julie's wedding in Phoenix. And you can do La Marcha inside, outside, in a ballroom, in a parking lot, at a winery, or a barn. There's Nicole again at another wedding. Wedding crash of Nicole at Uncle Kirk's wedding. This is a good panning shot of Dave and Melissa's. They were married at a beautiful old hacienda restaurant in Santa Ana, California. There's Latricia coming back into the canopy. This was an outdoor wedding, as I mentioned, at an old historic site called La Cienega outside of Santa Fe. And you're back again with Kirk and Katie at their barn at the Nash Ranch. That was a lot of fun. There's something always unique about outdoor weddings. They had such a special flavor. And there's Kirk and Katie at Raina's wedding. There's Uncle Eloy, and there's Gyla, Dan, and Raina. Eventually, as we pointed out, I think there's Glenn and Luana actually doing the end of the circle at their dance. They were doing the demo at the reunion a minute ago. And as they come in, everyone keeps doing the circle, clapping and cheering them on. Kirk and Katie inside their circle at the end, being cheered on with much applause by the other guests. And there's the end circle for Latricia and Mike's. Glenn and Luana with the big circle. And you'll see here, watch what Uncle Ed does. Oh, there's Melissa and David. There's a nice high angle shot at their wedding. So watch here. Here's Uncle Ed. Uncle Ed on the right side of the screen. He says, everybody join in, everybody get in. And so at the very end, everyone comes into the circle and they continue dancing a minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, whatever the mood is like. And eventually, a big round of applause for the band or the DJ or the song or the couple. And there you go. La Marcha, the wedding march. And I promise you guys, when this is done, it will be looked at as one of the most memorable and special moments of your wedding.